Washington is determined to maintain peace in Taiwan. Joe Biden calls Xi Jinping a dictator. Japan's economy sinks into contraction. Mass protests against Putin's mobilization planned in Russia. Tencent stockpiled Nvidia AI chips for a couple of generations. Magnificent 7 feet have dominated the US stock market in 2023. Vatican confirms ban on Catholics becoming Freemasons. France issues arrest warrant for Syrian president.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, November 17th, and here are your top stories. Chinese President Xi Jinping stated that Taiwan was the most contentious issue in the U.S.-China relations during a 4-hour meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden yesterday. In response, Biden told Xi that Washington was determined to maintain peace in the region. A senior U.S. official told reporters President Biden responded very clearly that the long-standing position of the United States was determination to maintain peace and stability.
The U.S. official also said, President Xi underscored that this was the biggest, most potentially dangerous issue in U.S.-China relations, laid out clearly that, their preference was for peaceful reunification but then moved immediately to conditions that the potential use of force could be utilized, referring to Xi's comments on Taiwan. The U.S. official added, President Xi responded, "Look, peace is all well and good, but at some point we need to move towards resolution more generally."
An off-the-cuff remark that Biden made at the end of the day when he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping sought to send a message of stability to the rest of the world, risks throwing a wrench into the script. Biden was asked if he still thought Xi was a dictator, and the president replied, "He is." Biden said he is a dictator in the sense that he is a guy that runs a country that is a communist country based on a form of government that is totally different from ours.
Nikkei Asia said the comment is sure to rankle the Chinese side after what was seemingly a diplomatic win for them on the contentious issue of Taiwan. Nikkei reported analysts had noted before the meeting that Beijing wanted Washington to reiterate the One China policy but stay silent publicly about U.S. commitments about arms sales to Taiwan. Biden's answer at the news conference fit that scenario, but his dictator remark could trigger a new diplomatic backlash.
The government of Japan said Wednesday the country's economy contracted at a 2.1% annual pace in July to September as consumption and investment weakened. Japan's cabinet office said in quarterly terms the economy contracted by 0.5%. Private consumption shrank an annualized 0.2%. Corporate investment decreased 2.5%. With investment and demanding weakening in other major economies, Marcel Thelian of Capital Economics said, "We expect GDP growth to slow from 1.7% this year to 0.5% in 2024.
Financial services company Ing said the last quarter's performance was far worse than what had been expected, which had forecast an annual contraction of 0.5%. Given the numbers, Japan's central bank isn't likely to consider any move toward higher interest rates. The Bank of Japan has taken a super easy monetary policy for years, aimed at energizing an economy long beset by deflation, which reflects the stagnation that has plagued Japan with its aging and shrinking population."
The families of Russian men drafted under President Vladimir Putin's partial mobilization last year have planned mass protests demanding their return home, amid reports that soldiers are being prohibited from leaving the military. The soldiers' relatives published a manifesto on Telegram channel, The Way Home, on November 12th, demanding that their men be allowed home, and inviting Russians nationwide to participate in rallies on November 19th.
The Russian State Duma said in September that Russian men drafted for the war won't be rotated out of Ukraine until the so-called special military operation is complete. The Way Home channel said in its manifesto, they are, first of all, people, calling the treatment of mobilized soldiers at present as akin to legalized slavery. It said, both mobilized and contract soldiers must have the right to be released from military service upon expiration of the contract or 1 year from the date of conscription.
Shenzhen-based Tencent Holdings Limited dismissed concerns that U.S. export controls will constrain its AI development capabilities. On Wednesday, during an analyst call, President Martin Lau said that the company has stockpiled enough Nvidia Corp's H800 artificial intelligence accelerators to develop its proprietary Hunyuan AI model for at least another couple of generations. Lau said, "Right now we actually have one of the largest inventories of AI chips in China among all the players."
The Chinese players have to focus on the China market, but at the same time, we also feel that internet is by nature global, and competition is by nature global.
Lau said that Tencent will look to compartmentalize its best-performing chips for training tasks and the rest for the less computationally intensive inference tasks. The company is also trying to seek out domestic suppliers for its AI training chips. However, he did say Tencent's cloud computing business may be impacted by the U.S. export controls. He said, "We feel that the chip ban does actually affect our ability to resell these AI chips through our cloud services, and that's one area that may be impacted."
A chart in Goldman Sachs' 2024 U.S. Equity Outlook shows the Magnificent Seven tech stocks, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, and Nvidia, make up 29% of the S&P 500's market cap. Yahoo Finance said that's the largest portion of S&P 500 market cap ever dominated by just 7 stocks. The S&P 500 has never been this top-heavy. The Magnificent Seven have gained 71%, while the other 493 stocks have added just 6% this year.
Goldman Sachs equity research team led by chief U.S. equity strategist David Kostin described the Magnificent Seven's outperformance as a defining feature of the equity market in 2023. Goldman sees the path forward for the Magnificent Seven stocks to likely be higher, too, but that doesn't make it the ideal trade for 2024 given the group's rise over the last year. Kostin wrote, "The risk-reward profile of this trade is not especially attractive given elevated expectations."
The Vatican has confirmed a ban on Catholics becoming Freemasons, a centrist or secretive society with an estimated global membership of up to 6 million that the Catholic Church has long viewed with hostility. The Vatican's doctrinal office said in a letter published by Vatican media on Wednesday, active membership in Freemasonry by a member of the faithful is prohibited because of the irreconcilability between Catholic doctrine and Freemasonry.
According to the United Grand Lodge of England, modern Freemasonry is one of the oldest social and charitable organizations in the world, rooted in the traditions of medieval stonemasons. Masonic lodges are normally male-only societies, associated with arcane symbols and rituals. They have also sometimes been linked to conspiracy theories alleging undue influence on world affairs. The group says it has 180,000 male members in England, and estimates global Freemasonry membership at around 6 million.
French judges have issued arrest warrants for Syria's President Bashar al-Assad, his brother Maher al-Assad, and 2 other senior officials over the use of banned chemical weapons against civilians in Syria. A judicial source said on Wednesday the arrest warrants, which refer to charges of complicity in crimes against humanity and complicity in war crimes, followed a criminal investigation into chemical attacks that killed more than 1,000 people in the town of Douma and the district of Eastern Ghouta in August 2013.
Reuters reported it is the first international arrest warrant that has been issued for the Syrian head of state, whose forces responded to protests in 2011 with a brutal crackdown that UN experts have said amounts to war crimes. Mazen Darwish, lawyer and founder of the Syrian Center for Media and Freedom of Expression, which filed the case in France, said these are also the first international arrest warrants that have been issued over the chemical weapons attack in Ghouta.
The answer for yesterday was D, altered. He had altered so much I scarcely recognize him. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Biden calling Xi a dictator. Number 1, off the cuff. 我已经准备的，即兴的。I didn't mean any offense. It was a flippant off-the-cuff remark. Number 2, wrench, 扳手. Throw a wrench into something, 使某事受阻. Look, I hate to throw a wrench into your plans. Number 3, dictator, 独裁者，独裁官. The dictator refuses to relax his grip on power. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced next week. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.